we're going to use a tool called the Convert Point tool. And here it is right here. Now before we do that though, I want to zoom in again. It just makes it easier. And now I'm going to start finding where it is that I have curves. Wherever it is that I need a curve, I'm going to convert that point. And the way I convert the point is with the tool, I click on the anchor. And when I click on it, I get this anchor, this square here, and then I'm going to drag clockwise. So if you drag to the right, when you're in a different position, it's not going to work right. You're going to always want to drag clockwise. Okay, so that's the best way I can tell you that. If I have a curve here, maybe not. This is a nice straight line here. This is a little curved here, so I'm going to click and drag that. And you can see as I'm dragging out here, I'm elongating the curve here, okay, the arc. So you don't have to get it perfect right now, and you don't want to get it perfect because you're going to use another tool to do that with. So I'm going to do this one up here, and I just want to get it close, and then I'm going to fix it later. And I think that one's good right up there. We need to get this one on the roof here. And I'm just, like I said, dragging it out till I get close. If there was an anchor here or a curve here, I'd bring that out. This was curved here, I thought. This here, another one here. So for small curves, I'm just dragging a little bit. For the bigger curves, I'm dragging more. And this gives me a larger arc as I drag more. Okay. Small, small. This is going to be a big one with the tires. Notice I'm dragging to the left now, but I'm dragging clockwise. And that's what I was saying before. Okay. A little bit here. This one here. Now as you can see, as I'm dragging, I can also move up and down, and that helps shape the curve a little better. So again, I don't have to get it perfect, I'm just trying to get it close at this point. And then this one here. A little tiny one here. And then this one here on the grill. Okay, let's go ahead and double click the hand, and let's turn off the background layer and look at it now. It's starting to look like a car. And again, it didn't take us that much work to get there. Okay, so now let's look at how we would refine even more. So we're going to turn this back on again, and again we're going to follow the path. If it's hard to see the path that you're trying to follow or that you're trying to trace here, click on the background and duplicate the layer. We'll turn the visibility of the background layer off. Then we can reduce the opacity, and sometimes it's easier then to see the path itself. It seems fine to me, so I'm just going to leave it where I had it with the opacity all the way up. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and then I'm going to start refining. Now, when I refine a path, I'm going to use a different tool. Right underneath the text tool here is the path selection tool. And underneath the path selection tool is the direct selection tool. So the direct selection tool is a tool you're going to use to edit your path with. So with that selected, if I now click on one of my anchors, with a curved anchor, I have several options here. I can move the anchor point, and you can see the anchor is selected because it's black. This one here is not black, so it's not selected. I can move this up and down. Okay, in addition to being able to move this up and down, we can also drag from the segment itself. So this segment is what's in between the two anchors. If I actually click on that line, I can move that line by itself, and you'll see this whole thing moves. So depending on how you like to work, it can help you either way. I'm going to zoom in a little bit again, so it's going to help us to see this a little better. And if I want to change the shape of the arc, what I want to do is drag on the handle. So the handle itself, and maybe we can see this a little better if it's up here, is going to shape the arc. So you can see that the apogee, or the height, the apex of the arc, is going to be dependent on where I have that anchor. And you see it moving across here. So it moved over here. And it's all going to depend on how far out I have that handle dragged out or not. Now you'll see as well that by default it's moving both sides of this arc here. Okay, so it's moving this side as well as this side as I'm dragging that handle. And if you get to a point where you don't want to move both sides, and you'll notice here I missed the headlight here, I might have to add another point here. If you want to be able to move these independently, what you're going to have to do is hold down the Alt key, or the, which is that on the Mac? It's the Option key. Then click on the handle itself. You can then begin to move it independently. So you see it's not moving the one on the left side now, it's just moving this one here. Another thing that I can do is I can move these around. Okay, so I can move the handles around, and depending on what I need to do, I'm going to have to do a combination of all these different things in order to get the line where I want it to be. If I want to add a point, like let's say I wanted to add one here, and really if I want this arc here, I'm going to have to start it here at the headlight and start it over here. I need to go back to the pen tool and get add anchor point. So right here, add anchor point tool, and then it's going to automatically add a curved point here. So it adds one, a curved point there, I want one there, and I'm going to put one here as well. So this is going to allow me to get that curve of the headlight here if I want to. And then again, I'm just going to go back to the direct select tool, and I'm going to find the anchor where it is I want to put that, and I'm going to drag it down a little closer is what I'm going to do here. Drag this down, and again, zooming in and out helps. And I already have a curve here, so if I drag this up and down, I can increase or decrease the amount of curve there. And it's very subtle. Another thing that I can do is once I have the anchor point selected, I can use my arrow keys on my keyboard. So that's moving it up and down with my up and down arrow. So that helps as well to refine. So again, we're going to move this to try to get it a little closer. Now the problem with getting rid of part of the anchor here is I actually got rid of this one on the other side here, so I can't adjust that. But again, I'm just going to drag these to where I get them as close as possible. This one's kind of messed up here, so let's see what we can do here. I'm pulling this handle in a little bit here, moving this out a little bit, and again, it's just trying to get the shape. Sometimes if it's hard to see, it's easier to use the arrow keys to get the anchor where you want it. And I'm just trying to get as close as I can to the outline here is basically what I'm doing. And you can see if I need to pull this up a little. Again, I might have to bring this anchor down. And this is how we refine. We just go through and click on each point until we get it where we want it. Click here, pull this out a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time on this video here, but I want to give you an idea of what to do here. So anytime you see a little rough edge, another thing that helps to see how smooth your, oops, this one I got way off. To see how smooth your lines is, what you might have to do sometimes, how smooth your lines are, if I use correct English here. Then I'm going to turn this layer off so I can just see my outline here. And I can start seeing if I have little bumps and stuff that are not smooth. Okay, so again, I want you to go around here and refine this as much as you possibly can. And that's the way to do it. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the outline of the body itself. So without the tires, we're going to do the body itself. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to duplicate this layer here. So let's call this layer, I don't know, this is pretty much going to be the tires and windows, so it's up to you. I'm just going to call it the inside, and then the other one will be the outside, but it's all up to you. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, drag it down here, and I'm going to call this the outside. You can call it the body, you can call it whatever you want. And what I'm going to do with this now, and the reason why I duplicated it, is so that I don't have to go and redo all these points here. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag these ones up here to create the body without the wheels here. So once I've got this done here, I want to make sure I select that layer, and I'm going to go ahead and let's change the color and make it whatever color you want. I did white for my other one, but you could choose a silver color in the body here. Whatever you want to do, it's all up to you. And you can see once we turn this background off here, now it's silver. And what we're going to do here with this layer here is we're going to adjust these points here, and like I said, follow the lines of the fender here so we can have the wheels. Now, again, to do that, we're going to use the direct selection tool, and we're just going to go ahead and click on here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Just makes it a lot easier. And with the direct selection tool, I'm just going to drag this point all the way up here. And then I can adjust my line from there. I might have to add one here. We'll see what happens. And it looks like I'm going to have to drag this one out a little bit. So you're going to have to play with it. You might have to add some points. You might have to add another anchor point there. It depends on how it's working there. And again, I am trying to shape this here. If I can't get the shape of the curve I want with a single anchor, I might have to add another point. Let's see if I can get this by itself. And yeah, I just had to get that by itself, and pretty much that was it. I might have to move this anchor over a little bit. And that's all I'm doing, is moving stuff back and forth all around till I get the shape I want. And I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect when we're drawing our own thing here. And we'll see when we go back to it if we need to make any other changes to it as well. So we'll go back here. Again, I'm trying to find the center of the arc here. This one's going to have to move over, because remember, this included the whole tire, the whole bottom part there, so that's why we had to change that a little bit. I think this is in the right place, and we're just then shaping the arc. Dragging, moving up and down is what I'm doing to try to get that shape there. And now let's take a look at it. So turn the background off, and now we have what kind of looks like the body of the car here. And we're just going to refine it further from there. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at doing is cutting out the windows.